Oh, the humble king. Oh, there was once a king who had a wise advisor. The king said to his advisor, there's a king who signs himself as being mighty great and a truthful and humble person. I know that he is mighty, since his kingdom is surrounded by the sea. And on the sea are navy ships carrying cannons that do not allow anyone to come close. And along the seashore, surrounding the country is quicksand, through which there is only one narrow path, wide enough for only one person to pass. There too are cannons that are pointed towards anyone who might come to attack. So it is impossible to come close. But I do not know why he signs himself as being a truthful and humble person. I want you to bring me a portrait of this king. Oh, this king possessed portraits of all of the kings, but no king possessed the portrait of that king, since he was secluded from all people, sat behind a curtain far even from his own countrymen. So the sage went to that country. He realized that he must discover the essence of this country. And how does one find out the essence of a country? And by way of its humor, its jokes. When one wants to know the essence of something, one must find out what humor is said about it. For there are many types of humor. One may intentionally mean to hurt someone with his words, but when the other expresses hurt, he says, I was only joking. As in the verse, I am only joking, Proverbs 26:19. And sometimes one may indeed only mean it as a joke, but yet the other person is hurt by his words. And so forth with other types of humor. Now among all the countries, there's a country that embodies all countries, nanach, nachman. Within that country, there is a city that embodies all cities of that country, that embodies all countries. And in that city, there is a house that embodies all houses of the city, that embodies all cities of the country, that embodies all countries. There is a man who embodies everything in that house, etc. And there is the one who composes all the wisecracks and humor of that country. The sage had taken a lot of money with him when he went there. He saw the people making all types of wisecracks and jokes. He understood from the humor that the entire country was full of falsehood from beginning to end. He realized this by seeing them making jokes of people fooling and tricking each other in business. And now when they go to court, there's nothing but falsehood. For they accept bribery, and even going up to the highest court, there's only total corruption. The people were making parodies of all these things. The sage understood from this that the entire country is filled with falsehood and deceit, totally lacking any truthfulness. So he made some business deals in the country and allowed himself to be fooled. He went to the courts, and they were full of falsehood and bribery. One day he himself gave them bribery, but the next day they ignored him. So he went to a higher court, but this too was filled with falsehood. Finally he reached the highest court, but this too was filled with falsehood and bribery. Eventually he reached the king himself. Now, when he reached the king, he said, over whom are you king? The entire country is full of falsehood. From beginning to end, there is no truthfulness in it at all. The sage began to tell the king of all the falsehood that is in the country. Upon hearing this, the king bent his ear to the curtain to hear closely. He was amazed that anyone would be aware of all the falsehood that exists in the country. The ministers who heard the sage's words were outraged at him, but he continued reporting all the falsehood that exists in the country. The sage then said, it would seem that the king is also like them. He must also enjoy falsehood like the rest of the country. But I see that you are a truthful person, which is why you keep your distance from them. You cannot bear the falsehood that exists in the country. And he continued to praise the king very greatly. Now the king was extremely humble. And specifically, when his greatness was revealed, was he humble? For that is the way of the humble. The more they are praised and extolled, the smaller and humbler they become. So on account of the sage's great praise for the king became very humble and small, until he became literally nothing. Until he became literally nothing. The king could no longer restrain himself. So he opened the curtain to see this sage. Who is it that knows and understands all this? His face thus being revealed. The sage saw him and brought back a portrait for his king. The paths of Zion are mournful. Lamentations 1:4, Zion alludes to the Tzionim, representations of all the countries that were embodied in that one place, as written. One sees a man and shall erect that seeing next to him. Cheskel, Ezekiel 39:15. This is alluded to in Chazei Tzion Kiryas Moadeinu. Behold Zion, the city of our gatherings. Isaiah 33:20. The acronym of which is Mischazek. Mitzachek. Laughing, for that is where all the Tzionim are gathered. Whoever needed to know whether or not to do something or some business deal would be able to know there. May it be as well to rebuild it soon in our days, Amen. Just look and say, dear reader, how deep these concepts are. Fortunate is the one who is patient, for he will attain knowledge of some of the secrets of these stories, the likes of which were never heard since ancient times. And now that all of these verses and allusions brought after some of the stories are only, and know that all of these verses and allusions brought after some of the stories are only allusions and hints, so that they not seem to be empty stories. As we heard from the Rebbe's holy mouth, he has revealed only some allusions from the verses that correspond to the secrets of the stories, so that we know that they are not empty stories, but the true mystery of the stories is beyond our comprehension, comprehension, deep. Who can understand it? Nanach, nachman, meuman. Nanach, nachman, nachman, meuman. Nach, nachma, nachman, meuman.